Doctor, thank you for being here. A lot to unpack. So the public was told an advantage of getting vaccinated is that you wouldn't have to wear your face covering anymore. But now LA County, they're bringing them back anyway. Well, measures like that hurt the effort to get more people vaccinated.
Yeah, Frank, I think what you're seeing is that with the Delta variant being more transmissible, you're seeing increase in cases. And when you see that, clearly the burden of disease, the hospitalization and the deaths is being carried by the unvaccinated. But when you have enough people who are, carrying the virus in your community, no vaccine is perfect, right? 90% effectiveness against death and hospitalization. And so you may also see a portion who are vaccinated who become vulnerable. And that's why, I think in a community like LA County that has seen high pockets of unvaccinated people in a very vaccinated, otherwise vaccinated state, it makes sense to take that temporary measure until they can get rates of vaccinations up in those pockets.
So, Doctor, I know you say no vaccine is perfect, but Pfizer's another step closer to full FDA approval for their COVID vaccine. How big of an impact could that make, especially in this fight against the Delta variant?
I think a lot. And I hope that it comes sooner rather than later, because you just started with the conversation around misinformation. One of the major misinformation that I'm hearing in my practice is people talking about the fact that this is emergency use authorization, and there's a lot of misunderstanding between, the safety of these vaccines and the fact that it doesn't yet have an FDA approval. There's a portion in surveys of people who are unvaccinated who say they would get vaccinated if there is full approval. So it's really one step that gets us closer to be getting people vaccinated in this country.
So a lot of different research about vaccines out there. President Biden also accusing social media platforms of, quote, killing people with vaccine information today. Let's put the politics aside. Just medically, do you agree?
I think social media is playing a big role in amplifying misinformation, which is leading to people not taking the vaccine, which is killing them. I mean, it's the honest truth. COVID right now is a vaccine preventable disease. We have abundant vaccines in this country. And then you have surveys like the Kaiser Family Fund survey that says that 54% of Americans either believe in or can't tell if a common COVID vaccine myth is correct or not correct. And that's influencing their confidence in the vaccine. I think social media companies can do a lot. They need to invest a lot more resources in having better enhanced surveillance of taking that misinformation down more quickly, as Peter talked about. They can invest more resources in changing their matrix, because right now, what gets on top of your page is not what's correct. It's what's popular and what you may have interacted with before. So if you previously interacted with misinformation, you're more likely to see that. So investment needs to go to that, as well as more partnerships between social media companies and public health bodies so we can get the right information to people.
Well, Doctor, as I mentioned, a lot to unpack here. Here's the question on everyone's mind. If the United States doesn't take this Delta variant seriously, how bad could this really get? Both the actual spread of the virus and the potential steps that we would actually need to mitigate it.
There's two parts to this, Frank. I think that if no new variants appear on the scene, right? Let's put new variants on the side for a second. Today, the reality is going to depend on how many people in your community are vaccinated. The more people that are vaccinated, the less likely you're likely to see the cases go up, hospitalizations go up, and deaths go up. And it kind of depends on how many people in the community had the infection in the past. And that's why it's hard to say how this is going to play out in different parts of the country, depending on how many prior infections there have been. But what's on the horizon, though, is if the disease continues to transmit, you might see, even with the Delta variant, we are protected by the current vaccine. New variants may appear because of this continued transmission. That might change the whole equation. And then we won't know what the future holds.
Dr. Bhadelia, as I mentioned, a lot to unpack with this situation. I'm sure we will talk to you again about this. Thank you for being here.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.